I was just 19 years old and coming here, not knowing what you will need to do with. Sometimes when you feel something, it's hard for you to interpret it, why things are happening in a certain way. Now, when it comes to marketing and budgeting, it depends on the product. And obviously, when you treat a project professionally, you need to see it from the beginning to the end, because your website doesn't need to be super fancy to generate orders. You just need to have the right product. Focus on the product, focus on the channels, focus on the personas. Once you understand who is your clientele and going towards them, you can also stand out in terms of competitors.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the ChampionsClub Podcast. Today, as you can see, in English. It's the very first time that we do an episode in English. And we have a very special guest with us today, Michael Elyav. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to this interview today. Michael, he comes originally from Russia. Moved to Europe. Yeah, it's actually a really cool story. He moved to Europe, worked different jobs, started his own business, and basically now is building the e-commerce business for the fashion retailer VIER Jahreszeiten. Within 2.5 years, he built a team of about 20 people, and he's building the e-commerce business of VIER Jahreszeiten. So really, really cool story, and I'm excited to have you here. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for the introduction. I'm glad to be here.
Maybe you can share a little bit about your story. So where do you come from? How did you come to Europe? Why Europe actually?
Sure.
How did you come up with founding your agency? And give a little bit of background about you and your story.
Sure, let's dive into it. So you were saying, right, my roots are coming from Russia. My parents were born there. However, myself, I was born in Tel Aviv. I was born up and raised over there. Pretty much went to university there, and then I joined into a family startup. It was back then in Switzerland. We manufactured some dental implants. I was the translator / project manager. So I helped them with the branding part, with getting the website on, with some printed materials and so on. Then I decided to go towards starting business. I pretty much enjoyed Europe. Although Switzerland is outside of the EU, nevertheless, you definitely feel there the European change. And before that, I was traveling also a lot to the United States, but bottom line, I looked for a good study program in Europe. I had a friend who studied here in Vienna, in Lauder Business School in the 19th district, and I decided, why not? Let's give it a shot. So during my visits in Switzerland, I decided to make a round trip through Vienna. I was overwhelmed from the cleanliness and from everything. So I decided to apply immediately, and I got okay. And here I am. I was here in Vienna. It took me a week to understand that this is the city I want to stay, actually.
Cool.
I've been in New York before, but I thought till then that New York would be my love, but Vienna definitely catch my heart. And I understood there is a lot of opportunities and possibilities here as well. And so, back then during studies, I was trying to take some small jobs as a DJ back then, and some of the biggest clubs here in Vienna. Been in Passage, Putzgarten,
Nice.
Yes. Afterwards, I found a job for some consulting company, where basically I built for them an ERP system from scratch with benchmarking tools, automations for presentations, and so on. That allowed me to gain my working permit here in Vienna. After some time, I moved to work by bwin. Didn't last for long, but back then I took the decision that I'm enjoying digital projects and I wish to be more dynamic. I had already an interest from some clients that needed a website for their real estate business, and basically I decided to be gegründet, to establish my own company, and that's where Sharabella Digital Consulting was born. We are talking beginning of 2000, and, let's put it mid-end 17, the beginning of 17 already. I was brainstorming about it. Yes. So after achieving the first couple of projects and delivering them very good, one of my clients apparently he was also part of VIER Jahreszeiten, so he had also a couple of retail shops.
Maybe you
and
can briefly explain what VIER Jahreszeiten is. I can imagine that not everybody is familiar with it.
VIER Jahreszeiten is an offline retailer from Vienna, heading back around 1985, where they have a multi-brand stores, meaning they are resellers. They don't have their own fashion brands. They rather buy Italian, French brands, and so on, and they sell it through their stores. They have a certain niche, I would say, so it's somewhere between medium, premium, somewhere there, and it goes a bit. It's targeting a bit more mature crowd, I would say. And back then, my question was, how's business going? And he was complaining that, yes, I think that online is taking some business from us, and I don't know to where the business will head in a couple of years. So I told him, let's do an online store. So let's just fight back. And that's where the idea was born. So he gave the okay. And he was pretty scared in the beginning from the images. How are we going to shoot? I told him, don't worry, I'll make you an MVP, something very cheap. And we'll just put the photos and see what happens afterwards. We'll get it from the brand. So we started. Then the story didn't look that way. So apparently you don't really get the images. They all have their own online stores. So they're not into promoting just any random person who wants to compete them. I mean, you buy from us for your stores, very nice. Online, if you want, shoot by yourself. So we purchased very expensive photo machines from Style Shoots, more than 100,000 euros investment. And we understood that, okay, investing that in those machines can't work with some PrestaShop or WooCommerce CMS, because then design customizations were required and so on. You have certain standards in the market also from the brands to get the okay to sell. So back then I was looking for some agency to help me with the design. The experience wasn't that good because lack of experience from both sides of how to develop such an e-commerce. Then we decided to make things more in-house. So within a couple of months, I hired a team slowly and took over the entire project. We pretty much built it from scratch, and we are where we are at the moment with a very, I would say, state-of-the-art online store that we are super happy with, our client is happy with, and especially our customers.
Really cool. And so your story is really special in my opinion. I mean, I thought you come from Russia, but you're born in Israel, right? So you moved from Israel to Switzerland, okay. But still, like moving abroad, and obviously is a big step. So from where you came from, what was the biggest challenge that you had to overcome to get to where you are right now?
I think I really enjoyed a few courses in the beginning of our study year, and they were just right on the spot. And the word was diversity, and that word was not so much familiar to me. Diversity? Well, why is she repeating it all the time? And then I kind of understood. She explained the concept within an hour. We did some group games, and then I started to understand the culture difference and how to interpret it, including with all the psychology courses. You know, sometimes when you feel something, it's hard for you to interpret it, why things are happening in a certain way, and understanding certain communication types. But with the time, I started to enjoy it a lot, because there is a huge culture difference between Russian and Israelis. That's why even when I was a kid, being mixed in the environment, it was a bit like we are a bit different.
So, but
Then
your parents are Russian, but
yes,
they moved. So your parents are Russian. They moved to Israel, and you were born in Israel then. So
just right after a couple of years, and even their Hebrew was not so good back then, obviously.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Russian. That's why I'm native in Russian, Hebrew, English, and now picking up German. So yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much that's the case. And I think it was very nice because obviously Austrians are different and typical, but they're very kind people. And maybe for outsiders, sometimes it would be perceived different, especially the older crowd. But for me, I'm overwhelmed. The fact that I'm still living in Vienna means that, pardon me, that I enjoy being here. And yeah, pretty much it's a big challenge. And I suggest to everyone this experience, doesn't matter where you live. So if you were born in Austria, I think it's very essential. Even this 1 year exchange program, I think they call it Erasmus, I find huge value in it. Besides the parties, which I think that has to be.
What was the thing that brought you so much value?
Mindset. You change the mindset in terms of communication types and having the access to other people. So we are now communicating online, right? We are in quarantine. We're staying home. That's the current situation.
Yeah.
However, I mean, the same way as we can communicate and we are both locating in one country, we can do it also now between other countries in a normal day and do some business. I can order job from you, you can order from me, we can do some collaborations, and that's fantastic. Now, when you in your study time, whatever you're doing, so if it's business majors, for sure you have to have some experience in other countries. Besides the language skills that you would practice a bit, and it's always good. I think also understanding people and approaches is very important. So it's a key.
Learning different cultures, getting to know how they think. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. And your biggest challenge, so when you moved to Vienna, was it hard for you to settle in, or like what was the toughest time that you had to go through and that you had to overcome during this period?
I mean, I was just 19 years old, and basically it's a pack of responsibility. You understand, coming here, not knowing what you will need to do with the visa requirement, Meldezettel, Vienna, how it's called, Vienna Linien, and do all this bureaucracy stuff. I wasn't familiar with, because till that point, my parents used to do it for me back home. And suddenly you need to take care of yourself and finding out all those type of things. I'm sure that even most Austrians, when they're 19, maybe they're not aware of it because they never had to do it for themselves. Yeah. But that was a bit challenging, but then it was rewarding because it's a good feeling after you complete this type of tasks. You're feeling good as
a person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. And how do you earn money right now? Because, like, if I understood it correctly in our phone call, like, you're basically an agency that works with VIER Jahreszeiten, right? From a business model perspective. Okay, so how do you earn money? How is your business model?
So basically, as an agency, I mean, it was never defined well from the beginning in terms of, I mean, the idea was I want a flat fee, very small, for establishing the website, and then I said, okay, I'll have a certain percentages from it, and it will work. But obviously, I didn't have back then experience as today of how online stores operate and how many people we need and the budget that we'll be dealing with. So we basically decided to take certain fee and have it as a salary on a monthly basis, where my cut is still there.
So there's a fixed sum.
Yeah, it's a fixed sum.
Yeah.
It's an agency, and pretty much I'm still working in parallel on some other projects. It's changing from month to month. At the moment, I take over more other projects due to whatever is happening in the world. So the fashion, the premium segment got a huge hit.
Okay, yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah, because now everything is divided to essential and non-essential, and I mean, let's face it, food and medicine is at the moment on a higher priority. So yeah, this is how it works pretty much.
Cool. And how do you structure your team? So what kind of competencies do you need in your team? I guess when you already said it at the beginning, like building your website, when you started talking to external partners, basically like there were two parties not knowing how to build an e-commerce business. So what kind of competencies do you need to build a well-working e-commerce business, e-commerce shop? And how do you structure it?
The way I would answer it today, well, that would be, I would break it down to a couple of phases. Obviously, the first one is always the research / consulting part, right? You need to have some type of proof of concept. Mm-hmm. When you have an idea, you need to understand, right? You have the product, you have the idea. Now you need to find some type of competitors, see what their standards, what systems they are using. There are great extensions or resources that you can go dive in and understand mm-hmm. what's going on behind the scene. Mm-hmm. Put it on a paper. I mean, it always depends on your level of understanding of other technologies, but pretty much you would first do that window shopping, creating that shopping list on a paper, understanding
like market research. It sounds like market research. Yeah.
Exactly. And then also it always depends on the customer who orders it. So, I mean, it's a good practice. So if somebody that watching this podcast is willing to open an e-commerce for himself, so he should treat himself as a customer in that sense. Mm-hmm. If you build it for someone else, so that someone else is the customer. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're the customer of yourself, you know what is your budget. You know, if you're going to finance it, you know you have certain amount of money. And according to that, you should. Because obviously, if you have more assets to invest from the beginning and your business model is legit after some type of research, so why not to have the good infrastructure from the beginning? Mm-hmm. But then again, it really depends. So I think nowadays, if you want,
like, what kind of competencies do you need? You probably need somebody like a designer who does the photos of the product. You need IT people to customize the web shop. You need probably some people for ads and to create demands. I mean, all this. So what kind of competencies do you need?
It's very individual, but let me give you, it's very individual per case. But let me give you a nice example that I had now recently. So last week, end of March, I was contacting a supermarket, a grocery shop from the community here in Vienna. And I basically took a product, I shoot it in our systems in the photo studio. And I told him, look what I can do. I can shoot your products and then make for you a nice website like that company has. Mm-hmm. And he told me, yeah, well, now I don't think it's the best time to discuss it, but thank you very much. All right, no problems. On Sunday, I get a call around 6:00. Michael, come here to the supermarket immediately. Yeah, I don't have questions, but I kind of have an idea. He tells me, look, the police gave us a suggestion to close. I'm like, okay. Yeah, well, we have a Jewish holiday, Passover, this Sunday coming up, and I have tons of products and people need it, matzah bread and all the other stuff. And I'm telling, okay, so basically I need from you an online store by tomorrow morning. So 6:00 a day. I'm like, okay, so I felt like a Moses for a moment because, okay, I'm going to be the savior of the community this year. But then, okay, sure, no problems. So, installing the Droplet on DigitalOcean, getting up a WordPress instance with the Speedlight, WooCommerce, everything, and giving them instructions. So I told him, all right, you guys, you don't have now, we cannot do professional photos. You have the product information. That's awesome. Give me the feed and take phones. I open for you now Telegram groups. Go and shoot all the 2,000 products in the store. Upload them in certain order. I'll find an Indian in Upwork that will start to rewrite the names of the barcodes on the images. We work, and here you go. In the morning, until now, we had around 200 orders in just 2 days.
Wow.
And it's crazy. People are shocked. And the website looks pretty nice.
And they're closed now. So their offline store is closed.
The offline is closed, but there are people who are doing the picking. and they have a pickup from the store. They have a shipping delivery with their own car to all the Vienna, and they also have Fresh by Post. So it's good that they already had an agreement with Fresh by Post, so they can distribute it Austria. But I added within a night Stripe. Apparently, I got confirmed within 10-15 minutes. That was a surprise. Stripe, Klarna, cash delivery, all those methods. I mean, that's for me. That was for me a very nice example that, see, when you want to build an online store and you have the right product with the right timing, your tech doesn't need to be fancy on a level of 1 million euro cost.
How much did it cost for the customer? So how much was it approximately to build that? Or like say in general, if you want to build an online store, let's say you have a product.
I would never want to build it like this, although I admit it was fun. It was fun. But I don't know if I could survive treating projects in such a way. Because obviously, I mean, we did now a lot of things that after the holidays period, we will start to redo things, and nevertheless, we need to charge for that time. Now it was just bringing some solution short term. And obviously, when you treat a project professionally, you need to see it from the beginning to the end. Because I always say to my clients, I treat digital projects the same way as I treat construction plans, right? You do a construction plan, you call to the architect, you have an idea, how many floors you want to do or you can do, how many apartments, you have to have a plan in place. Because if you start to build something and then you say, okay, I just want that button and then just that button to change and then to add, with the time it will look messy. So it's always easier to take a UI UX designer from the beginning. So again, as I said, I like to do the brainstorming first, understand what we need, and then to bring a UI UX designer in place, because her time is cheaper than a developer and her changes are much faster than a developer will do. So her or him, doesn't matter. Just mine, she's a female designer. She's very talented. And pretty much that's how it will work. So we will make the design, we'll show it to the customer. And usually once you visualize things, although it's not under some type of domain, the customer get a better feeling, because they're not that good in words of defining functions and layouts verbally, because they're not practiced with it. Therefore, once you visualize it, things get much easier to understand, and then you still do some fine tuning for the plan, and then you go with the first version of the website, deciding which platforms to use, understanding better the budget, the long-term strategy, and
what's the minimum budget that somebody needs? Maybe not only working with you, but in general, if they want to do that from themselves, what's the minimum budget that somebody needs if they have a product and then want to build an e-commerce business? So what's the?
I think it depends a lot on their technical level, right? Because if it's someone experienced, maybe they can get it for free. Besides just whatever, if they need some plugins or hosting.
Okay,
costs.
if they don't.
If they don't, I think if they don't, I mean, depending on the project, but you can get something good from 5K on. That would be my understanding. But again, it all depends on the appetite, because it's like buying a car. People see, okay, a Hyundai Tucson costs 20,000 euros, but it's a manual gear and I don't know 1.4 or 1.6. They're going to say, oh, you know what? I want the 3.2 diesel, and there is a nice leather seats and there is a nice panoramic and with the rims, and then it comes up to 60, 65, and they say, I'm in Hyundai or in Mercedes-Benz at the moment. Yeah, you want those features.
And the 5,000 that you mentioned are for the web shop, or does it already include like the budget that you need to run ads and create the traffic and kind of like start getting a positive cash flow so you can really start building? Because now you have an online shop, cool, but nobody knows about it, so you need to promote it. Is this actually something that you do as well, or do you just build the? Yes?
No, definitely. And I mean, I'm also officially expert partner of MailChimp, so for a whole marketing stack, not just for email marketing, and also Google Ads, Facebook, and many other channels. I mean, that's why I said it really depends individually. So that specific store, people were willing to have it. So there was zero effort spending on
But
advertising.
how did you manage to make people aware that this shop who has no online shop?
We have a Facebook group. We have a Facebook group, and we just added to the supermarket website just a shop, just a button on the menu that here you can buy online. So word to mouth. But then again, that's why I said it's really individual. Now, when it comes to marketing and budgeting, here it's a good question because it depends on the product, obviously. Some things, if you offer a solution that people are searching for it constantly and you already did the right SEO research, that there is a demand for those words, then perhaps starting with certain Google ads to fill certain traffic, to analyze it, to understand what's happening, that would give you some type of a feedback. In parallel, in some type of project, obviously other channels could work like Facebook, LinkedIn. But I really like to concentrate in the beginning on those two. And there's obviously
which two?
Google and Facebook. But obviously for some type of products, influencer marketing might work even better. So it's really, you need to analyze the case, because I had another client telling me, I have a very nice beauty center, new type of treatment in the city center of Vienna. Then I was thinking to myself, Facebook, okay, we can do it in Vienna. Google, what? Under what search terms? I mean, you want to push, you don't want to pull because it's something new. So we decided to go with an influencer, somebody that she's from the city center, that her audience mostly is from Vienna, and that her target audience is also the type of the persona of that store. So and then you understand that by giving one fee, let's say some 500 euros to do some postings, you already gained about 20-30 customers. That's valuable, at least for the beginning.
100%.
Now, going up and scaling, that's another topic. But that seed clientele from the beginning is the most valuable one. And I always say for every online. Why? Because, well, first of all, the feeling. When you invest time and money in doing something, you do it for a purpose, right? You do it for the chling of money being charged to your system. This is it pretty much, right? Because if you today invest 5,000 or 10 or 20, 30 in certain web application, you just don't want, you don't want just to tick a V, okay, I did it, I have it. You want it to be profitable, essentially.
Sure.
So the fact you get those first customers means A, your system works, B, your idea was good. So it's already rewarding. There is a need for that product. There is a need for that service. Also, if we go a bit enlarge the picture and we go towards the first 1,000 customers, that has huge value, especially for lookalikes, right? So you have strategies through Facebook and Google to take either using the pixel data or the analytic data or the customer data itself, so emails, names, phone numbers, whatever. Of course, it's being processed anonymously, but then those systems will suggest you similar audience.
Do you need at least 1,000 customers to create these lookalike audiences, or?
It's suggested, especially for purchase events. It's highly suggested. I mean, some people I know they do lookalike on other events like add to cart and these kind of things. I mean, everything you have it. I mean, it's better than nothing.
Sure.
But practice shows that having 1,000 customers. So if you would use the pixel, Facebook pixel, for example, there's a certain time retention. Google has a bigger one. But when you have a CSV file, obviously there is no time retention. Once you upload it, it's just being processed more and more. I mean, I forgot to mention, you need to have the right CMP on your website with the right cookie disclaimer, with the right privacy.
What's the CMP?
Cookie management platform that the customers would really have full control on which data is being collected.
It is, of course, making it GDPR compliant and all these kind of things. Yeah, sure. Of course.
Why I say CMP? Because I tend to see lately many cookies pop-ups, and when I analyze their front end, unfortunately, they're nothing just beside the label and a button. A CMP is pretty much system that is connected to all of your listeners. We call it listeners. Listeners is any tag coming from Facebook, Google, any third-party listener. Obviously, customers need to have their full control on data is being processed of what they do.
Sure, it's a law actually. Yeah.
We just mentioned it, right? We're talking ads, so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so, what would you suggest to people or businesses that are very much at the beginning and don't have 1,000 customers yet? How do you get to this 1,000 customer mark?
Good. So let me answer to you this way. Half a year ago, a good friend of mine from Israel, she was participating in the Tank Shark. You know Tank Shark, this program?
And for people who don't know Tank, you mean Shark Tank, right? Shark Tank. Yeah. It's basically 2 Minuten, 2 Millionen in the US. Yeah.
Exactly. And she was pitching her brand. So she has her own fashion brand. And apparently she got very nice investment from that round. And it kind of made me think a lot, because her online store was done very poorly, very, very bad in terms of UI, in terms of speed, in terms of quality of images, everything. But she was running very good her own Instagram organically. So she invested zero in advertising, but she was very good in self-branding and finding her own community.
She created traffic by her own personal brand.
Exactly. And she was able to gain over 5,000 customers, loyal customers, having more than 20,000 sales within, I think, 1.5 years. And that gave me kind of the feeling of, it's not about how strong is your tech. It's not about how strong is your website, how much you spend. People now, they're getting, sorry for using that word, but they're getting erection when they listen about platform like Shopware, Magento. Oh yeah, Magento, I'm going to put 2-3 millions and then look for developers in India. I mean, or, going with Salesforce, putting 200,000 here. I have nothing against those technologies, but focus on your business first rather than the technologies. Technologies should support your business in a certain growth plan, growth phase. And I think she inspired me actually in that sense. I mean, for Firusas it's different because we don't have our own brand, so we're reselling other brands, and the game plan is to gain even more brands. And obviously we are getting to a niche where big players, they're all making revenues over 1 billion a year, 1 billion euros, and I'm talking top 10 players in Europe. And you step up to certain standard just to get the same clientele. But when you talk about those people who have their own idea, their own product, and I just proved it this week, that your website doesn't need to be super fancy to generate orders. You just need to have the right product and just put your emphasis on it in the beginning.
Okay, so focus on the product.
Focus on the product, focus on the channels, focus on the personas, focus better on the
What do you mean by personas?
Personas, they're shopping personas for any business type. So if it's our women fashion, so we know it's just for women mostly, and we have certain age, and we have certain. I mean, we have. I don't wish to disclose, I would say, our 4 personas, but let's use, for example.
Make it general.
All right.
What's a persona?
Let's talk about the ChatVisor. So having a multi-browsing, having a co-sharing, how do you call it?
Exactly. Co-browsing, yeah.
Co-browsing experience. So obviously your personas are businesses because you are a B2B solution. So for you, your personas is going to be certain businesses that give support and have the need to see the screen of the client. So you you draw profile, like profiling in the police, right? So when they have an image of somebody, they start to draw how tall is he and so on. This is exactly what you need to do. You need to do profiling. Who is that customer? Always start from end to the beginning. The end is having a customer opening their wallet, putting their credit card information for getting that product. Who is that person? Find for me that person, at least theoretically. I mean, convince yourself.
Yeah.
Better not to have just one, have at least four,
And
then
what
just
criteria, what areas do you usually describe when you describe a persona? So what
again, it's
categories do
individual
you
person
subscribe?
business, but you can go from the most generic ones in terms of countries, so geographic, demographics, those usual ones. So male, female, age, location, language, and then it depending on the product, right? So if it would be high-end beauty, then you understand that it's certain income level and there's a certain approach in life that they are already engaged with, mostly with something similar.
And what do you do when you define the persona? So how do you use the persona?
Basically, the entire communication level, starting even from design and branding, could be using this information, because obviously if you are targeting and you understand that your persona is a German speaking person because you are whatever, any solution that is really local, then your logo perhaps should be in German and with certain colors that whatever, right? So the entire website, the look and feel should go towards those personas. Not don't do the solution that you like and enjoy. Let's say, okay, I made this draw because I like and I love it. Now whoever wants, come and join. I mean, this is an artistic approach, might work. I like to take less risk and go directly to understand what you need and bring it ready for you in a way that
I believe that's very, very, very valuable advice. Very valuable advice.
Yeah.
It's putting the customer in the middle of everything.
That's how it works. And once you understand who is your clientele and going towards them, you can also stand out in terms of competitors, because once you understand also who are your exact competitors at the moment targeting the same type of personas, and there are a lot of instruments even to check it. So whatever, depending again on the budget.
What are the tools that you like using?
So they're like SEMrush, Ref, SimilarWeb is also a very good one. I mean, SEMrush is basic, but it covers a lot of data, I would say, in terms of keywords, demographic. It gives you some type of data. Then, of course, you can do also some research using Facebook tools and Google for audience building. There are different ways to tackle and find. My basic research that I like to do the most when a client comes to me is opening the Google. So if it's an Austrian Google, so I would set my Google to be Austrian, and I would start to type certain keywords and see who are already bidding on those words, and then who are the first organic results, and then just to see what is existing at the moment on the market and what we can do better than those competitors that we could bring new value, because it's very important. Being just a copycat, I think your chances of survival will be always lower than from who you're copying. So
100%.
So you need to bring something additional, and yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. What's your basic principles that you live your life by, like in general, not only business, but what principles do you live by?
I think honest and direct communication is number one.
Okay. Why?
I would like to list, let's say I would list now 3, and then I will explain them chronologically why. So the first one would be this honest and direct communication. The second one should be trustworthiness. And the third one is mutual respect. Mm-hmm. And it will work for everything. Clients, customers, employees, family, friends. It just works with everyone. Why? Because when you are direct and honest about something, you make things, I mean, it's all related, right? It's part of respectful and it's right of goodness. It's like a triangle that is really, so it's not 3 points, it's just a triangle. Anyways, the point is once you're able to achieve this type of communication, obviously there is less conflicts. You're most productive. you enjoy life. There are no misunderstandings. There are no fights. I mean, obviously, there are always some type of fights or some type of things that you don't agree on.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, when you have this common base, when you have this, so to say, the
It's very
fundament,
human principles, actually. It's
has to be. Everything is human. Look,
yeah.
everything else is virtual. So this is the only human part of us, and everything else we do is just virtual. So it's not physical.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, most of the things we do today, but yeah,
cool. I like it. I like it a lot. I can relate to it a lot. It's like radical honesty is also one of our values in our company that we require from ourselves, but also from our team. If they don't like something, just speak up. You will not be, punished or whatever. So we encourage people to speak the truth, and I think that's really important because it creates speed, it creates simplicity, like you said. Makes things easy.
Your employees, they come to work not because they need to stamp the timestamp or whatever. They come because they believe in you, they believe in your approach, they believe in your concept, you believe in them, you understand them. There is a bit of different type of harmony and chemistry. It's very important, and again, it applies on everyone.
Cool. I like it. I love it. I really love it.
When it comes to honest and being direct, I could give a lot of points to the Austrian people because there are certain cultures that they will always have the mask of smiling and talking a lot and and putting all those nice words in the beginning and the middle. But Austrians are direct, and it is what it is.
So we're a good example.
Yeah.
It's good to hear. Cool. What's the three books that you read or listened to, can be audiobooks as well, that had the most or the biggest impact in your life?
Wow, if it means impact, then obviously the first one would be the Bible.
Oh wow, cool! So you're very Christian.
No, it's not about religion. It's about me reading a book and understanding how people design their entire life or generation according to it. So that's just fascinating.
Okay.
And obviously, I understood that to this book there are many other parallel books that are similar to it, and this is very powerful. So first of all, it is the most powerful book because if you go years back, people used to kill based on that book. I mean, it is what it is. In the name of the religion and so on. And I'm fascinated how religion through this entire time actually designed cultures. So this is part of understanding people and mindset. Obviously, it has something. That would be number one.
Okay.
Number two, there is I hear a lot of people saying about it, but again, it's very humanistic. And when it comes to books, I would really go towards more philosophical. And there's a very famous writer. His name is Noah Harari. He's a professor in the Jerusalem University, and so he has one of his most famous books is the Homo Sapiens. And I would say the third. I cannot compare anything to the level of those two, so I'll just put it on e-learning. I'll tell you that when it comes more for career related tasks and so on, I really like enjoying e-learning by LinkedIn. I have to admit, I like their approach because you buy a subscription for the entire year. I wish I'd get commission for it, by the way, but you buy a subscription for the entire year, so it unlocks for you certain possibilities, to approach people and so on, and see who is stalking you. But besides that, you have the possibility to have e-learning for anything. So in the beginning, I wanted to design a logo. Okay, Illustrator. I took a course, 20 hours playing with it, and I still use Illustrator in certain things instead of asking designer more changes. And when it comes to certain online stores and certain platforms, whatever, really everything. So I find it to be very useful.
Cool. So you're mainly learning your business skills from from LinkedIn?
I would say I started my theoretical understanding, a lot of it. I would definitely give
It's
it
a
some
very
credit.
cool thing because you said theoretical. How did you make the transition to practical then? Just
Through
doing it yourself, or do you had mentors who helped you with that, or?
Well, I think I did myself. Firstly, on my own kind of website. So there were some family related projects, some close people who wanted. So for example, my sister wanted for her own business some website. So I started to do for them and practice. It's for free, and it's good because then you gain some skills. And even though if you're not able, and hear me out, this is very important, because if you're not able to do something fully 100%, but at least you understand how it functions, that's very important. Once when you assign a task on someone else, or you order that task from another company, because you need to understand the feeling and speak kind of the same language. Otherwise, that it will all depend then on the person trying to explain what he does or she does or they do. And I always like to be in control of things and understanding what is happening behind the scene once I'm not there. And being able to measure dedication or quality of work, I think it's very important. So I did do like a full stack overview and everything. So at the day, my DevOps, for example, came and said, we have so many microservices, we need to put it on a Docker. Then I'm like, a Docker? What is a Docker? Yeah, it's a Docker file. I'm like, okay, Docker file. I'm waking up in the morning already with a list of questions, and why not Kubernetes, and why not that, and why not that, and how are you going to do the deployment? And then I'm like, yesterday you asked me what is it? What happened? Yeah. I don't go in and through the entire night. I opened the 4 hours course to understand how it works. So in the same day in the morning, I could speak in the same language as you do.
Cool. That's actually a good advice for me as well, because I'm not from the tech side, but I'm in a tech company. That's actually, I was thinking about how I can, what's the best and most efficient way for me to get a basic understanding of tech, so I can speak the same language. So I guess I will take your advice and do LinkedIn courses. So that helped you a lot.
Yes, but honestly, also I could say as an advantage, I was learning together with the business. You understand?
Sure.
So we pretty much grew together by doing. And I think once you're already in a system as yours, that it's already it's well established. Pick certain points. And what I also suggest, I gave now an advice to my project manager. I told her, look, you've been working in some other agencies. You've been working on many projects. You didn't do one thing in your life. You never made a website by yourself. Here is a DigitalOcean account. Deploy one WordPress website and just start to do things. Just play with your hands without asking anybody. Just search things by yourself and try to come up with something.
And what was the result?
She for now at the moment she made some website. It looks pretty good, and she's like, I'm surprised how things work fast and how things can be personalized, and she was pretty overwhelmed. I mean, it's pretty tacky, right? Because she got used to custom solutions, and suddenly working with CMS is not that common for this type of people. A bit more advanced, but it's kind of put you back of what possibilities are out there and what is a standard thing. So I think if you could build your own small application that will be similar, using similar technologies as what your company does at the moment, I think that would definitely put you on the on the possibility to join a Monday call together with the tech team and giving some, pushing some terms.
Cool, I like it. Miguel, I really want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time. I believe there were so many great insights. There were so many things I took away from that. So I really want to thank you for that. And I want to wish you the really all the best for the next for the next months. I hope that this Corona thing will be away soon. I hope I'm pretty sure, but I wish your business the best.
Thank you. Likewise too.
Thank you. Final question. What's your definition of a true champion?
A true champion is a person that wakes up in the morning, look at the mirror, and happy in what they see. So they say, I'm happy to go to work. I can't wait to meet the people. I can't wait to bring those new ideas I was writing in the bed last night on my notes. This is pretty much it. And the less regrets you have by doing something in terms of you're kind of happy with everything you're doing. I think that's definitely the definition of a champion. And I really wish to get to that point.
I love it.
It never ends. And always, I think the second point is, if you want to be a champion, never stop. Just say, maybe Michael that will look at the mirror tomorrow in the morning is more champion than the one looking in the mirror today. So
hopefully that's what we are working on all the time. Cool, Michael. I love it. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. And
all the best. Stay safe, and
you too. See you soon. Hopefully in person. I'll text you if I'm in Vienna.
Fantastic. All the best.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.